What's going on, guys? It's NNJAsmurf here, and I'm here to show you my Predator's Mark builds I have for you today. The Predator's Mark builds, what can I say about it? It's a very good, versatile build to have, either by yourself, but more so toward the team. It's very versatile in every situation. If someone's running away, you can shoot them about 10 times it takes, and then they start bleeding, slowing them down considerably, because you can't run. You can roll, but that just slows you down, basically. It's a good build for crowd control, I believe. If you focus on one guy and make him bleed, and then all of a sudden you're just getting swarmed by not only the bleed, but you're getting swarmed by other people as well, you're going down quick. Uh, what what can I say about this build in terms of overall? I think this build is meant to have a lot of DPS, but also a lot of skill power. You can run Smart Cover, or I would probably say Pulse, though, just to put out more crit hit damage, crit hit chance. Because remember, the more damage you're putting out, the more each bleed is going to do as well. So if you have a good amount of firearms like I do, with a good amount of skill power like I do, and you're pulsing, you're hitting the target, you're gonna do a lot of damage. It's gonna hurt them pretty good. Now, what guns am I running with this? I'm running the G36. The military G36 got 13.7k base damage, deadly, self-preserved, and responsive. It's a pretty good perks roll right there. I re-rolled focus for responsive. So now let's see what I got. For each shot, I'm pretty much doing around 14k. That's pretty good for a player. Hitting the target, that's pretty good. I got crit hit chance at 18.5, crit hit damage at 123%, and headshot damage at 98%. Oh, no, that was for the... Alright, that was my fault. That was for the MP7. Alright, so let's see what the G36 stats are. I think they're actually lower. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So, I'm hitting the target for about 6.1k, which isn't really realistic in a sense because it doesn't take in a factor for I want to say for responsive. Yep, kicked in 14% extra for hitting that target. Crit hit chance is 11%, could be a little higher, but it's alright. 113% for crit hit damage and headshot damage at 73%. Now, if you can, it'd be nice to build these up a little higher, the crit hit damage and headshot damage, but as of right now, for my build, it's not that high. I focus mainly on the firearms, just to make that overall base damage higher. But we look at the MP7 now. I got 12.9k just for the regular base damage, but then I also have weapon damage in the clip, so I'm doing an additional 13.9, 14.4k damage on base damage, and it also has brutal, swift, and responsive on it. And you've seen the stats on it earlier. For some reason it switched between 14,000 and 8,000. See, it's really buggy, the weapon damage, but the crit hit chance is pretty good, 18.5, crit hit damage at 123, and headshot damage at 122. Up close, this is just going to shred people, especially when I put a pulse out. I'm going to do massive damage pretty close, especially if I aim for the head, and melt him pretty quick. The pistol. 17.5k base damage, pretty good. Comes with, expert, when the weapon deals 100% more damage when the target is below 30%. So if I run out of ammo in one clip and I want to switch out to the pistol, alright, that's cool. And it comes with harmful. Normally I use this pistol for other builds, such as sentry. If I want to slow someone down, I try to get them to bleed, and that's where harmful comes in. But as for this build, I won't use it as much. Now, the pieces I'm running. I'm running a reckless chest piece, comes with, the traditional 14% increase in damage, but also take more damage by 10%. It's a good trade-off, you do a lot more damage. I'm also running, as of right now, a firearms mod, electronics mod, both holding health. Now, I believe it's a good role to have, or a good thing to have reckless on for this build, but you could switch it out for another two pieces, like for sentry, or if you want to be a little more tanky-ish, run two pieces of final measure. It's up to you, but I like to go for firearms and skill power to keep my health going. I usually have a team with me, so I can constantly be healed anyways. Now, the actual perks you get for using Predator's Mark. For two pieces, you get optimal range. It's pretty good for 20%. I believe the G36 has a good range of 102% or 100, no, 100, let's see now. Combat. Nope. Okay, there it is. The range, 75 feet. Alright, pretty good, pretty decent. For that, yep, that's what it should be. Yeah, 75 feet. Okay, so that's pretty decent, pretty far. The MP7 I think is a little shorter. Okay, so I switched it out. Okay, so the G36 I'm gonna say is 126 feet. That sounds more legit, and then 75 feet for the MP7. Sounds right. Okay, so now you also get for using Predator's Mark increase on assault rifle damage. Now that's where this kicks in for why I have such a high base damage for assault rifle at 13.7. Because of that, the increase on assault rifle damage just right there, plus pistol damage. It's okay for the pistol, but not really something useful in this build. And then the main set for having all four, 10 shots without switching targets to make the target bleed for 100% of the damage already done by those bullets. So if I do straight 100,000 across the board, then they're gonna tick for another 10, pretty much another 10 shots for 100,000. That's for ads. People would probably do, if I get all headshots with the pulse, I could possibly do 10k to 12k. I usually do around 11k, but sometimes 12 to 13k, depending on what's going on in the situation. Then that means they're going to be bleeding for that much as well. They could be bleeding for 10k, 11k, 12k, 13k, and it's going to hurt them. It's going to make their health shrink pretty fast. But usually the bleed will more consist of, because of all the, you don't take into factor what other people have. They have bleed resistance. I tested it out with my friend before. Bleed resistance does make a factor into the situation. I was supposed to be doing like, I think 10k on his head and for bleeding. Instead it was only doing 5,000 because of the bleed resistance he had. It was kind of, cutting 50% off of it off. Now, I believe still it's a really good build to hold to have with you. Now, the backpack I have. I think overall you should run for skill power for both your backpack and for your mask. 7300 skill power, I think it's not the max, but it is pretty high up there. And then I run firearms with a crit hit chance, pretty good overall. The striker's gloves I use because it comes with assault rifle damage, SMG damage, and crit hit damage at max. Crit hit damage being 42%, I believe, is the max out for what you can get on these gloves. And then I have 748 firearms, pretty high for firearms, not the max. 759 is the max, I believe. The holster is pretty decent. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. It's in the middle somewhere. I rolled for armor, and the rolls I got for it were 723 firearms, 736 stamina, and 691 electronics. Pretty good right there for that. Now the Predator's Mark, for the knee pads, you definitely want to roll for crit hit damage on the major attribute. That helps in the long run. I have stamina here for 747, pretty good again, and then I have another firearms mod with crit hit chance. I'm trying to build up so that crit hit chance just keeps adding up to it. Now, like I said before, the mask, you want to roll for skill power. It isn't the highest, I think it's almost damn near the minimum, but it's there, it's almost at 5,000 skill power, 4,900, 25, I think yeah, 4,925. The max, I believe, is about 5,600, if I'm correct. I re-rolled for that, and it came with 723 stamina and enemy armor damage at 8%. That helps for ads pretty good. The chest piece I already talked about. And so yeah, that is the build I have for Predator's Mark. Now, this is a good build not only for people, but for ads as well. It's not the best for people or for best for ads, but it's the middle build. It's an overall good build you can use in both situations. As I said before, it does good damage. As you can see here, I use 97. See, they're bleeding now for 133k. On ads, that's pretty good. And I don't even have a maxed out skill power or smart cover. I'm using a pulse that's not even maxed out. As you can see, the stats for a pulse right here: 30% for crit chance and 60% for crit damage. If it doesn't take into the factor of enemy armor damage or the damage to elites or anything like that, which, let's see, in this build, combat damage to elites is 0%, 29% enemy armor damage, so right there for me that's a bonus. It's not being taken into factor right there. Yeah, it doesn't take in all the other factors on the field when you do the display here. Smart cover, pulse, sentry markings, all that adds up on ads and people. It works a lot. Now, a good thing to have, everyone's gonna say, is a shotgun. Now, when you use a shotgun, the funny trick about it only takes 2 shots. Why? Because it counts each pellet. So I believe each pellet has about 7 pellets, so you can shoot them twice and they're gonna bleed. As you can see, I'm making them bleed for 101,000, and that's with the pulse. Alright. Now with the pulse, I'm still making them bleed for that. As you can see, 995,000. It ranges, like I said, it's situational. But this is a good build to have for everyone to have in any situation you want. I think it's a fun build too. It's not the typical sentry shotgun builds. It gets repetitive and boring just using that. But in this, it's fun. You have a lot of fun using this build, and it's not cheap in any sort of way really. It's just using this to your advantage. It's a tactical advantage. It's not overpowered. It's not yeah, it's not overpowered in any sense of the matter, really. I mean, you can easily negate the bleed by healing yourself. If you were to heal yourself, like right now, I'm gonna make myself bleed. Alright, now I'm bleeding. If I use a heal, see it disappear. Same thing. If you do that, the bleed's gone. You don't have to worry about it. So if you have another team of 4, the Predator's Mark, it helps, but it doesn't. It's not overpowered. It doesn't make them bleed even through their heals or anything, or through their ult. It's just a good build to have for overall. And if used in the right situations, it's very powerful. So, alright, that is my Sentry build. Predator's Mark build, sorry. And as you can see, the overall stats again. 225,000 DPS, 420 toughness, and 27,000 skill. Yeah, it's an overall good build, and it works very well in every situation you could possibly think of. So thank you for watching, and enjoy your day.